People, we are Tottenham TV, back here with some more content for you guys as the Premier League campaign kicked off yesterday. Everyone's so excited. Spurs are back. And Spurs are really back. We got battered 3-0 by Brentford at the G-Tech, which was an absolute shambles from start to finish. We were all saying it coming into the game. Spurs aren't ready. Look at this team. Look at the way we were all pre-season, to be honest. And it was pretty much worse than we could all have imagined, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then not only did we all think we weren't ready, and then De Zerbi confirms yesterday, I didn't think we were ready, which is not exactly what you want to hear from your manager going into the new season.
We were all saying before the game.
I know, but it's still not. I mean, you're the manager of the team. Obviously, you should expect the team, or you should want the team to be ready from the first game. So it's not great to hear from a manager, but it was evident.
Sure, he did want it.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not a great thing to hear from your manager, wasn't it? I knew we weren't ready, and so it came to pass, and we could all see it. But it's one of those early season games where I think Brentford, probably, if you're looking at the list of teams we could have faced, they're going to be near the top in terms of just the worst team on that occasion to be coming up against.
Yeah, no, it really was. They're much more set. Well, they are a settled team. Not many players at the World Cup. Look, we can roll the excuses, but I did think it had a major impact on it. And Spurs' preparation coming into the season has been absolutely tragic. I just want to bring up a couple of points or stats from Opta that have not these ones, but the ones that I've just got written here about how poor yesterday actually was. Brentford attempted 26 shots in the game. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not the stat I wanted to bring up. I don't know where it was, but basically it says Spurs have conceded the highest XG yesterday since 2024 or something.
Really?
Yeah. Which is mad to think about the XG levels that we were conceding last season.
Yeah. And we didn't exactly create a lot either. No, yesterday was a shit show from start to finish. We couldn't defend. We were completely open at the back.
And it was, basically, so here, Brentford's XG of 3.96 is the most in the Tottenham game that we've conceded since December 2024 when we played Liverpool and we conceded 5.36 XG. How mad is that? And it's also our heaviest opening day defeat in the Premier League era, levelled with the Manchester United one when we lost 3-0.
And we ended up actually having a really good start to the season in that year. That was under Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
And we went on and
11-12.
I think we lost the first two games, 3-0 and 5-1 to United and City. And then we went on and won like the next 10 games or something. So
that was the start of the season when Arsenal lost 8-2 to United, that season.
So that also just goes to show that you can't make too many sweeping conclusions from one opening day defeat. And I think there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't make sweeping conclusions, but there's definitely things we can look at yesterday and think, God, that didn't look good, and that was a worry.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think straight from the off, you could tell Spurs weren't really at the races, all starting from when Lucas Bergvall tried to dribble it out from our own penalty box. He lost the ball. Nathan Collins had that chance where it was a gilt-edged chance. It could have been 1-0 early doors and the warning signs were there. And then 5 minutes later, they do go 1-0 up with some shambolic defending from Tottenham Hotspur. All across the back line, I think all the players were at fault, not tracking their men, statues. It was just terrible, chasing shadows. They were able to pop it around us like we weren't even there. Like, it was just so hard to watch.
Yeah, I was rewatching that goal just before, and but we're actually in terms of like, you look at when Sangare picks up the ball, we're not in a bad position. Like defensively, you think, okay, Bergvall's got Sangare, Tonali's got I can't remember who he passed it to, but he's got that guy. There's, I think, a 2-on-4 in our favour in the box, and okay, well, I've got this under control. And then just within a split second, so quick 1-2 Sangare, Bergvall loses man, he bursts past Robertson, takes two players out of the game. Gray goes walkabout, Senetti's not marking anyone, a simple pullback, and Lewis Potter is in the penalty box, just outside the 6-yard box, and no one's near him. Yeah. It's like crazy how we've gone from one situation to the next and within a split second. That's how quickly things can change, and the defence was just all over the place. It was all over the place. I think when you're assessing yesterday, defensively we were shambles, but I'm not saying we expect that. Obviously we want us to defend well, but there are reasons why we were getting caught cold and, physically we weren't up to it. But I think the biggest worry, you have to say, just in general, was how our build-up was non-existent compared to what we've seen in pre-season and compared to, what De Zerbi, really focuses on and his training. I understand, again, there's a lot of things going into it, but we have Senesi and Van Ecke on the pitch with Kinski, right? 3 players that we expect to be very good on the ball, very proficient, good passers, players who we expect to be able to play through the lines, and they've worked a lot in build-up, this pre-season. I know Van Ecke and Senesi haven't played a lot together in pre-season, but still, their passing game is supposed to be the strongest element. Yet, we had zero ability to keep the ball, zero ability to play through Brentford. And it seemed like they were just waiting for us. They knew exactly what we were going to do, and we had no answer to it in build-up, which, can you say that's a fitness thing? Can you say that's something to do with how ready you are for the season? That surely should be something we're at least a little bit competent at, and it didn't seem we were at all.
Yeah, I think you saw like little moments, albeit few and far between. But I do think, definitely the fitness and the sharpness come into play, because you're looking at that Brentford midfield and Sangare was just bossing the show on and off the ball. Wasn't giving any of our midfielders a moment of rest. I think we could have expected a lot better from Van Ecke. I think Senesi was doing some decent balls into the middle, and his ball playing ability was a little better than Van Ecke, but Van Ecke just had a complete off day yesterday. I don't know what happened to him. Like, on the ball, off the ball, it was just completely tragic from him. And what you're saying about the build-up play? Yes, it was absolutely shocking. But I do think fitness does come into play a little bit there.
Well, it should do, but surely how fit you are. Obviously, it makes a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't, and that's ultimately, I think, was the biggest issue yesterday. I think Brentford were well on top of us fitness-wise. They bullied us. They hounded us. But still, when it comes to those little patterns of play in build-up, when it comes to how you're playing out the back, that shouldn't require top-level fitness to be able to play a few passes together. You know what I mean? There should be more than what we saw yesterday, even under the circumstances. Yeah. And it was very frustrating watching that.
We were just like 5-10 yards off the pace in every area of the pitch. I mean, it's hard. If you drop off a few percent in the Premier League, you can get these performances. We were far off. We were much more than a few percent off the pace yesterday. So it was just a really hard watch. I mean, those first 45 minutes, man, we didn't create a chance. We didn't get in their box, not once. We had a couple of shots from outside the area. Conor Gallagher had one, and I think there might have been another one. But we didn't enter their box and have a shot inside their box once in the whole first 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's just like, you come into the season, you're all excited, you expect the players to be chomping at the bit to get on the pitch, and that's what you show in the first 45 minutes. It's absolutely disgraceful. I thought Bergvall was just leaving all sorts of holes in that midfield. We were 2-0 down at half-time. It could have been 3 or 4. That's the reality.
And the second goal was a disgrace as well from so many players.
Yeah.
Richarlison, weak with his hold-up play. Like, really weak when you watch it back. Like, it's so easy for, I think it's Aya to just get a little toe on the ball. Bergvall, just lackadaisical. You watch it again, and he seems to try a little ball roll in such a dangerous position. And Jensen doesn't even have to break a sweat. Just like, I'm going to take that, thank you. And he takes it. He gets all the time in the world to walk to the penalty box pretty much and take a shot. And then Kinski, with the softest parry you're ever going to see. So poor. It wasn't even a great shot. And Kinski parries it right into the worst area. And then Senesi is on his heels, just watching Janelt get there first. And he should be anticipating the danger. He watches Janelt just get there and tap at home for an easy goal. And it was just so poor from everyone in that goal. It was just, everyone was weak, sloppy, off the pace. It was just horrible. That second goal was so horrible.
You're looking at these players there. You can understand some maybe been at the World Cup, haven't had too much for a pre-season. But Archie Gray, he hasn't had he wasn't at the World Cup. He's had a full pre-season. Lucas Bergvall, he went out early. Tonali, he wasn't at the World Cup. He had a completely free pre-season. Mikey Moore, Conor Gallagher, Mattis Tell, Richarlison. All these guys, a lot of our team didn't have a stop and start pre-season. They're all there for pretty much the start of it. So why?
But all the players that you mentioned aren't going to be starters.
Yeah, that's true, but you still expect a lot better from them.
Yeah, you expect to be able to be competitive. I think you you expect better than them, but then you put it all together, and then it's a problem. I think if you maybe have one or two, but then all of a sudden you've got five, five non-starters, five players who probably aren't going to be starting, plus they're young and they're not as experienced, not as physical as the opposition, and then you add in that plus the other players on the pitch, all new signings, looking to gel and have had disruptive pre-seasons. You put all of that together and you get what we saw yesterday.
Basically. And look, I think we envisaged a really tough game, and we envisaged Spurs unlikely to win coming into the game, but we didn't envisage it to be as bad as it was. Like, that was like our worst nightmare, pretty much, what happened in that game yesterday, because every problem that we highlighted before the game, it came to pass, but times 10, basically.
Yeah. I think I kind of expected the struggles, first of all, physically. I said set pieces, I'm really worried, and they bullied us. I expected struggles in stopping Brentford. I definitely expected struggles there. But I did not expect how poor we were on the ball. I expected a lot better than what I saw. I expected a few cleaner passes. I expected a lot less sloppiness. I expected us to be able to enter their final third and mount some more attacks than we were able to do. That was the biggest disappointing thing. I think if we were beaten like we were yesterday, but we created a few chances, and you just see if it starts to click, we up our fitness, and we start putting those chances away, then it could have been a different story. But we were just outplayed like every facet of the game yesterday. We weren't able to even create a chance, let alone be clinical. I know Mikey Moore had a few, but apart from those moments, we weren't able to create diddly squat. And then going the other way, we were just completely open, and we were completely overrun as well. So I think there's not really any positive in terms of the game you can actually take away, which is the most frustrating thing. I think we're all expecting a difficult game, but you're also expecting a little few positives you can take away and something you can cling on to, and unfortunately we just didn't even get that.
No, we didn't. And talking about the chances created and the Mikey Moore, those three chances, they all come in the second half. They all come at 3-0 down as well. So those were the only three shots we actually had in the opposition box throughout the 90 minutes. If we bring on the XG map, from the screen, it's the one with the circles.
Not that one. It's the one with the circles.
This one?
No, the one I posted. I sent you.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
So bring on this. You can see on the left, on the black, is Brentford's XG. And obviously, the bigger the circle, the bigger the XG. And then ours are on the right-hand side in the purple. So we had four shots inside the box. The last one there on the left-hand side, the D, that's Dominic Solanke, I believe.
It was a block
the
shot.
last 5 minutes, block shot. But those three chances there all come from Mikey Moore, and all come in like a quick succession of time as well, straight after we scored. They scored their third goal. But look at every other shot. Conor Gallagher, Sandro Tonali, block shot over the bar, nothing. Like, we weren't able to hurt them at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And look at theirs. I mean, and look where they're taking their shots, right on the penalty spot in dangerous areas. Obviously, that really big circle, that really big black circle was the penalty, which they missed. Obviously, we got lucky with that one. But you can see where they're able to access our penalty area, just time again in the most dangerous zone, which is right outside the 6-yard box, obviously. And you're not seeing one or two there. You're seeing, I think, 7, 8 times they're able to get there. Plus, you're getting these little other half chances in and around the 6-yard box from more little difficult angles, but they're also big chances, and a lot of them from set pieces as well. And they were able to try their luck from edge of the box. They probably had more shots outside the box than we did, even though they had times however many from inside the box. So it was just horrendous. And I think, that tells the story of the chances created, doesn't it? Right there in front of you.
Exactly. And, look, second goal, I think, was awful from Kinski. The third goal, I do have a bit more sympathy, because I think it was actually a really good save from Kinski to get down low through. Like, he would have been unsighted as well, because it was through a lot of bodies.
I actually think it was going in, and Senesi blocks it on the line, and he hits it into Kinski, and then it falls to Coyote. I think that's what happened. And I think if Senesi wasn't there to block it, I think it would have gone in.
Maybe, but what I would say about that as well is, like, the defenders around Kinski need to be alert when he parries it.
You watch that goal again, by the way, not Kinski, but the defending again from the set piece. It's laughable. It's absolutely laughable.
You have players in our box not picking up their men. 3 headers Brentford are allowed to have in the box.
First of all, what's laughable is when you look at the start of the set piece. You know who's picking up Igor Thiago?
Was he the header at the back post?
He wasn't, but he was causing chaos in the middle. Do you know who was picking him up?
Who?
Mikey Moore. What are we doing? Why is Mikey Moore picking up Igor Thiago? I watched this back, I analysed it. Then the head of the back post was Collins. Gray is on him.
Yeah, it's like, but Gray's got him. He's marking him, and then he just peels off, and Gray has no clue.
What happened is he peels off Gray, but Gray watches the ball, he watches it go to Collins and doesn't challenge him. You've got to put him off. You've got to get closer to him. He's literally got him and he's close to him. And as soon as the ball just goes a little bit over his head, he's like, okay, I'm going to back off. He's not going to even challenge. And he kind of pussies out of it. But what really should be happening is, even if you're not going to get the ball, you make it uncomfortable for Collins, because what actually happened was Collins sees Sangare completely free, which again, another massive horrendous defending that. No one's even close to Sangare closing him down. Everyone's switched off. Fernandez was guilty of this. Bentancur was guilty of it. Just watching Sangare have all the time and space in the penalty box and have the free shot. But Collins was able to watch the ball come over from the corner, look at Sangare and just nod it back to him. It was a very purposeful header from Collins to find Sangare. If Gray is at least challenging and looking to put him off, maybe the header isn't as simple and isn't as clean. Maybe it makes it difficult. Maybe it doesn't go straight to Sangare. Maybe Sangare is not able to shoot first time like he was able to. Yet, because Collins had a completely free header, nods at Sangare, he shoots first time, and then the chaos ensues. The whole defending was an absolute shambles from that goal as well. And obviously that was right after half-time. You're hoping, make 2 changes, maybe things can start to swing in your favour, and then it's 2 minutes into the second half, the game's over.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because I do think we were better in the second half, albeit we weren't great in the second half. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we put in a good performance or anything, but we were better than we were in the first half. And I think Bentancur and Fernandez did give us a little bit more control in the midfield. Fernandez, I thought, he actually was our best player on the day. Actually able to hurt the opposition, playing forward passes. We looked a lot better in terms of getting the ball up the pitch with Fernandez. And Bentancur, look, I don't think he was great by any stretch of the imagination. I think, he gave away the penalty. He was constantly fouling, didn't win many of his duels. But on the ball, I think he gave us a little bit more control.
Well, I've actually got a graphic which shows a little bit of what the impact Bentancur had. So if you put on the duels one, it was the duels one. Yeah, not that one. Next one. Not that one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. So obviously he came on at half time, Bentancur, and you can see he was second on the whole pitch for duels competed for anyway. Only won 4 of them. But as you can see, Tonali, Bergvall, and even Fernandez, very, very low when it came to competing with duels. Look at Brentford's central midfielders. Jensen, Sangare and Janel, all either double figures or very close to double figures in competing for duels, and also winning a decent amount of them. Bergvall, Tonali, Fernandez really low down and not really competing for too many. And so we were just being overrun. Bentancur comes on and he gets involved in the duels, and that obviously made an impact in us having a bit more of a foothold in the game, I think. But yeah, he obviously that's kind of a big difference. But I think the main thing you can take away from that graphic is their midfield just running all over us and just competing in duels, winning duels, and ours were just very off the pace and not even competing for many, let alone winning.
Yeah, I mean, what was it with Tonali yesterday? Because you expect debut for Tottenham, £100 million signing. You expect him to actually compete for probably one of the most amount of duels on the pitch.
Yeah, and he wasn't. I don't know what, I think a large problem was also he was very spread thin, so it was hard to get close to anyone because he had so many gaps to cover. True. But, still, even with that context, you expect a little bit more from him.
I think with Tonali,
But De Zerbi said he wasn't ready. How? I don't get that. Why isn't he ready?
Makes no sense to me.
He said him, Van Hecke and Senesi all weren't ready. Van Hecke and Senesi, I understand a bit more, only because they've only had 45 minutes together, and they haven't had a great pre-season. But I don't understand Tonali. He's pretty much played every pre-season game, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And he hasn't gone to the World Cup. Why the hell would he not be ready?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why is he not fit? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. He should be the most fit out of everyone in the squad right now because of the summer and the preparation that he's had. I do feel like Tonali looked a bit better when he got Fernandez and Bentancur around him. In the second half, I thought he grew a little bit, but still, not what you expect to see from a £100 million signing. You mentioned the set pieces, the defending set pieces before, and the aerial duels. It's got to be a major concern going into the season, because we know even before they came to Spurs, Senesi, Van Hecke, Van de Ven, Archie Gray, Pedro Porro, Robertson, basically all of our backline, who is actually strong at aerial duels apart from Kevin Danso?
Romero was our best aerial dueler. He was actually really good, but Van de Ven's never been fantastic. Van Hecke's actually not got a great record. Senesi's not the most physical. It's a massive issue. I also think Kinski, he came for a lot of crosses yesterday, but I don't think his punches were anything great. And a few of them went right up in the air and put us under pressure. And that happened a couple of times in pre-season as well. So that's also, you don't have a massively commanding keeper. I think he's brave, so he does come for crosses, but he's not like massively commanding. He's not gonna, like, if you compare him to like David Raya, like when he comes for a cross, he grabs it. Kinski's not really there yet. Maybe that'll happen down the line, but right now, I don't think he's either physical or just has the commanding of his box just yet. And then Van Hecke and Senesi, they're both big, strong guys, but for whatever reason, when a ball's in the air, they're not favoured for it. I've got a graphic for aerial duels you can bring on. It shows kind of. So Van Hecke and Senesi didn't win the majority of their aerial duels.
Because they actually won second most aerial duels on the pitch.
But first of all, Aya completely dominated like Richarlison.
Yeah.
We weren't doing the same.
Yeah.
They were winning. Look, the one thing that stands out to me, Sade in the forward line.
Yeah.
4 wins out of 6.
And I think they were all against Van Hecke.
A lot of them was against Van Hecke. How are you getting bullied by Kevin Sade?
Yeah.
That is unacceptable. That either it's unacceptable, or because he can do better, or that is a major concern that he's getting bullied by. I know he's not like the smallest winger; he's actually quite tall, but still, you should be dominating him. We've got a big 6'4" centre back who starts for the Dutch national team, and he can't win the majority of his duels against Sade.
Yeah,
that is a concern.
You look at that left hand side of the pitch for Brentford. Lewis Potter Keane won 2 out of 3 aerial duels. Kevin Sade won 4 out of 6. So they dominated in the air on that side of the pitch, which is Archie Gray and Van Hecke.
And then you look at their centre back, Aya, 6 out of 6, didn't lose a single one to Richarlison.
Yeah, and Richarlison didn't win a single aerial duel.
But I'm saying Richarlison's supposed to be one who we think is not like the best in the air, but he can compete, right? He's someone who you would think you lump it to a number of times, he might win one, but he didn't win a single one, right? And yet Kevin Sade is able to win 4 out of 6 out of our centre backs. Like before the game, would you have said that Sade is better in the air than Richarlison? You wouldn't have said it. It might have been true, but you wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're looking at that and you're like, is Aya just that much better than Van Hecke in the air? What is going on there?
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah, look, every stat that comes out about the game yesterday, every metric from the eye test to the statistical data, it's all embarrassing. Everything.
By the way, all stats and data that you're seeing on screen is provided by Opta, who we are in partnership for the next few months with them. So big up to them for providing all this data and stats for us. We've got more graphics to show as well in a moment. But yeah, it's massively concerning, some of these numbers, because like that, what you talk about when you look at aerial duels, like, can you put that down to fitness? I don't know. Maybe you can.
Physicality for sure.
Like, how off the pace you have to be losing aerial duels to Kevin Sade? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's not something that tells me you know in a few weeks' time.
Time will tell, won't it? I think for today, for the game yesterday, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's the first game coming in, so many problems coming into the game, but it will come to light over the course of the next 5-6 weeks if they're actually up to this kind of side of the game. You know, it's hard to make a sweeping judgment after one game, isn't it?
Yeah, sweeping judgments, yes, but there are concerns there
For sure.
that you can identify that aren't necessarily related to fitness and just being ready. Like that, aerial duels is a very individual thing. It's very, either you win the duel or you're not, either you're up for it or you're not, and he wasn't. And I don't think we can just blame starting 11s or fitness for Sade dominating Van Hecke or whoever in the back line.
I agree with that. Do you think it was an oversight then to play this back line? Should Kevin Danso have even started?
Some people suggested that. I've seen that. Maybe Danso should have come in for this game. I think if we're going to get Van Hecker and Senesi up to speed together, they're going to be playing together some games. Like, I know Van der Ven's obviously captain. He'll be our main centre-back. But we got Senesi to come in as a backup to Van der Ven. We can't just say, oh, well, they can't play together. I mean, that would be ridiculous to have a centre-back partnership. But with that, after one game, we're now saying they can't play together. So we need to get them up to speed. I think there's, a hell of a lot of problems. Maybe Dansko could have played, but do I truly believe in my heart of hearts, if we put Danto in for Van Hecker, the result changes? I don't really know.
The result might not change, but at least you're much more competitive in the air.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, you're probably right.
Well, definitely. I think that's for sure. We're definitely more competitive in the air.
Yeah, but then, not that we were great on the ball anyway, but you probably lose. You're probably even worse on the ball.
I don't know, man. We were terrible on the ball playing at the back yesterday. We really were, particularly Van Hecker. So I don't even know if you would have lost much on the ball anyway, with how shocking we were. I wonder. Look, I just want to put it out there before I say this. I absolutely love De Zerbi, right, and definitely think there's a future here, and I think we're going to end up having a good season. But I just don't like a few of the things he said in the post match. Like, first of all, the thing on Bergvall, like saying like he knew it was a better idea to play Bergvall, but he had
to not play Bergvall.
To not play Bergvall. No, it was a better idea if he would have played Bergvall and, Bentancur, but Bergvall was going to struggle in this game. Mm-hmm. So if you know that, why pick Bergvall over Bentancur? It makes no sense to me. We're going to get 3 points. We're going to play a game of football in the Premier League. This ain't a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, it felt like he was treating it like a pre-season game.
You know what I mean? This ain't a pre-season friendly. This is the start of the Premier League. So why the hell, if you know that a certain player is going to struggle and it's going to be better with another certain player, play the one that's going to struggle? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I don't buy, it's a thing saying like Bergvall, he's staying now and you want to show him kind of, you're going to be part of this team. But this is Premier League football. This ain't, Sunday League football where you go, oh, you know what, I feel bad for you, so you're going to play the game. No, you play the best team that is going to go get the result.
Yeah, and as fans, that's our concern. And obviously, as a manager, he is judged on results. But if he spent the whole of pre-season trying to convince Bergvall he has a future here and he wants him to stay, he's been playing him in pre-season, right? Fernandes isn't quite fit enough at the moment. Well, he's getting there. I know he's played back behind closed doors pre-season, but clearly he's not 100%. Bentancur also arrived late from pre-season as well. He's only had one behind closed doors game in pre-season. So De Zerbi's look at the situation and he's like, I've been in this guy's ear the whole summer. I want you to stay. You're going to be part of my team. And then what message is it send to Bergvall when in his first chance in a competitive game, with two other players who either arrived late from pre-season or on 100%, he drops him immediately and says, you're not going to play. Even though he spent the whole pre-season saying, you do have a future, I believe in you, I trust you, I want you to stay, you're gonna be getting minutes this season. And then his first opportunity, even against two players who maybe aren't 100%, he drops him. What message that sent to Bergvall? That's kind of where De Zerbi's looking, saying, look, I've been convincing him, he trusts me, I've got to trust him now, and I've got to play him. Now, it turned out it was a mistake. But Bergvall, he was hooked at half-time, and he didn't give back the trust De Zerbi showed in him in the game. But I completely get where De Zerbi's coming from. And I understand as well, if Spurs fans want to say, if you knew that he was going to struggle, you shouldn't have started him. But I kind of get where De Zerbi's coming from when it comes to what he's trying to do with Bergvall, because he just believes he's going to be here for the long term and he's going to be here, in 2 years' time or whatever, and he wants to build him up. Then I understand why he gave him the start, but it didn't work.
No. I don't think that excuse washes for me. You play the best team available to go and win the game, and Bergvall was clearly not that. All the issues that we saw in the Hoffenheim with Bergvall came to light in the game against Brentford, leaving gaping holes in the middle of the park. Yeah, he had a few nice drives, but he was playing to the detriment of the team. The amount of times he lost the ball in crazy areas, a few of the goals and big chances came from him. It was just like, I said it in the preview, like, Bergvall should not be starting this game. Should not be. We needed protection for that back four, a brand new back four playing with each other. And De Zerbi knew that coming into the game. He knew it. So I don't understand why you don't act. You're the manager of the team. So you've got to be playing the best players available to go and get the points. It doesn't matter for me what he's been saying to Bergvall in pre-season. Bergvall's still got to earn his role and earn his place in the team, and I don't think he's done that.
He's got to be
just
given
yet.
the chance to do it.
Yeah, fine, but you don't give him the chance against Charlton then. Don't give him the chance against Brentford where you know it's not going to work.
Yeah, I get that. And I think, yeah, it's a good point. In terms of Bergvall, there's a few little graphics, I think, which exemplify kind of the difference and the struggles he had yesterday. If you look at the one where it has bunch of number 15s, so that's Bergvall yesterday. These are like the touches and some dribbles that he was able to make yesterday. The direction of play is left to right on this one. So as you can see, he was really struggling to get the ball in the middle of the park there. Mm-hmm. Like very few touches, not able to get on the ball. He was a couple touches like in the final third, but again, he was really kind of on the periphery on the ball. Had a couple of dribbles, but was kind of on the periphery. And obviously we saw he lost the ball. As you can see, the one near our own penalty box, he lost the ball in a really dangerous area, and that was obviously cost us a goal, and that was obviously really bad. But you can see the difference between him. So this is him, and then you bring on Bentancur. Bring on Fernandez. Okay, Bentancur. Okay. There, they bring on Fernandez, yeah. And look how much he's able to get on the ball in the middle. And look how much he's been able to touch. Get on Bentancur. Look how much he's been able to get on the ball in the middle of the park and keep the ball. It's just night and day. It's completely different.
Yeah. And that's, what I said at the beginning of the stream, like when Fernandez and Bentancur were in the middle in the second half, we had a little bit more of an element of control. I mean, we had no element of control when Bergvall was alongside Tonali. So I think it will just call for a specific game, maybe for Bergvall to start games. I do think he's a good player, and I do think he will be a good player for us. I have a lot of time for Bergvall, and I rate him highly, but he's not at the level of our other midfielders as just yet. He's just not.
Yeah, we all know that his development was really hampered for whatever reason last season. Thomas Frank or whatever you want to put a blame on. Whenever he performed last season, he'd taken a lot of steps backwards, it felt. And he didn't play too much under De Zerbi at the back end of last season. He started the first game and then was immediately dropped and for more experienced players. But one thing I thought was very interesting that De Zerbi said in his press conference was, he said, now it's a new season, we're trying to do a different thing. So I think what he's compared to last season. So what I think he means by that is last season, we were in the shit, right? We were down in the dumps. The confidence couldn't get any lower. We just needed experienced heads. We just needed those players to get us over the line because Gray and Bergvall were not going to drag us to safety. Yeah. They're exciting players, they're young players, but they're not going to drag us to safety, right? They're going to sync with everyone else. So we just need people who know how to play in this league, who know what it takes to win games. But now it's a new season, it's fresh, everything's different, we're challenging for something different, we're going in a different direction. Now we can bring in these exciting players, now we can bring in these other younger players when the pressure's not as much on us now. Yeah. To get results to stay up and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's what he's thinking about when it comes to Graham Bergvall. We're going to start to see them integrated a bit more, and it's not just about last season. We just need to survive, and that's why he brought them in. Now it's a different phase.
Yeah, look, he's trying to build something now. He's trying to build a style of play. He's trying to build a different way of thinking. Last year we know it wasn't De Zerbi ball in the way that he wants to see it. We know he said it a million times about, I'm not giving them too much instruction. I'm just going to give some strong fundamentals of how we can go and survive the Premier League. And he did that. And now it pretty much is like having a new manager from the start of the season, isn't it? Because it's going to be so many different fundamentals from the last 7 games going into this new season.
And I think that's my point when it comes to we're very harshly judging Bergvall, Gray, Tell for this game. But it's, you've got to give them a bit of time. He hasn't played too much under De Zerbi. I know he's got thrown under the deep end and he sank yesterday, but that doesn't mean, over the course of the season that's always going to be the case, and he's not going to get up to speed with De Zerbi's what he wants and what he needs from the team. And De Zerbi look, he put him on the pitch. He now understands what's going wrong with him, what he needs to improve on. Maybe he's doing things in training which he's not doing on the pitch,
But
which is why he
thing
started.
against Hoffenheim a week ago. Exactly
Understand
the same.
that.
Even worse, actually.
Understand that, but we still won the game, and he was a lot better against Hoffenheim than he was. Obviously playing against a not as good team, but still he was doing a lot of more better things than he was doing yesterday. So I think everyone's a lot of the reaction to yesterday with Bergvall was, oh, you have to sell him. I can't believe we rejected 45 million. We need to get him gone.
I
He's
disagree
rubbish.
with that.
Like, I think we all need to calm down. Like, it's very early on in his Tottenham career, in his De Zerbi career. There's a lot of players that we judge without having seen them have a proper go under this manager. And we need to just give that a bit of time.
And look, we all said it's going to be a slow burner coming into this season. We didn't expect a 3-0 damaging defeat on the first day of the season. But that's what's come to pass, and we need to be better. And it will get better because you're looking at the starting lineup yesterday. Kinski, he's going to be our number one. Gray is not going to be our starting right back. Van Hecker will be our starting right centre back. Senesi, it's probably going to be Van de Ven at left centre back. Robertson, which I actually want to speak about in a minute, he'll probably be our starting left back, whether him or Doggy, it's one of the two. Tonali will be there. Bergvall won't be our starting player. It'll be Mateus Fernandes. Gallagher, I don't think the plan is for him to be the starting 10. It's about how quickly James Maddison comes up to speed. Mikey Moore is going to be out on loan. Matisse Tell is going to be a rotation option. And Richarlison probably won't be at the club as well. So when you're looking at that team, there is so many players that are just not going to be starting 11 for us. So I think when you're judging the game yesterday, it's important to remember that. And it's important to remember that there is so much change going on, and there's still so much more change to be implemented into this team. But again, De Zerbi, I think the preparation should have been better going into this season. And I get it, like a few things were out of his hands about the injured players and the players that he was like just trying to not integrate too quickly because of their injury problems and everything like that. That was out of his control.
And he had a bit of a rant in the press conference about the pre-season tour. Wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, like that was a disgrace in World Cup year. And how's Van de Ven getting injured on a plane? You know what I mean? Like, how's that even happening?
Oh, whatever he's blaming on. Is it jet lag? I don't know what it is, but he says he's got a little problem where he goes, I don't know if it was the flight or what, but he's kind of implying the flight time didn't help Van de Ven's recovery. I don't know what's going on with him. The whole thing is really weird. But taking this team out to New Zealand or Australia off the back of a World Cup year is just it's not going to help their preparation. It's just ridiculous.
But we'll see if it's an excuse or not, because Chelsea were also out in Australia and New Zealand. They played today. Let's see if they get absolutely battered. I don't know if they will do. So maybe it is just an excuse.
But they're also playing a team also, new manager and everything.
Yeah, it's different circumstances. We're playing a much more settled team, and the G-Techs are
probably a better team.
At the best of the time. Who have Chelsea even got today?
Fulham tomorrow.
Fulham tomorrow, and they've got a bit of extra preparation as well with the 2 days. But look, there were a couple of positives yesterday. Fernandes, obviously, we spoke about. He was one of them. Robertson, I thought, had a competent display yesterday. I think he was also part of a terrible backline, but if anything was going to happen, it was always going to come down that left-hand side. I think Robertson and Tell, particularly that cross that Robertson put in for Mikey Moore, that was the biggest amount of quality that we saw all day.
If he's in a Liverpool shirt, it's a goal. 9 times out of 10, that's a goal, and he's got an assist to his name. I also think the second goal, he didn't cover himself in much glory, but there was a number of times that they nearly scored, and if it was for Robertson,
he made one brilliant header in our own box that forced the corner.
And there was a moment where they played a through ball, I think it was to Utara, and he did this brilliant sliding challenge, and he got wrong side of him. I thought defensively we didn't have anywhere near as problems on his side as we did on Gray and Moore's
I agree
side.
with that. I would say that Utara did run him ragged a little bit at times.
I don't think he did. I think he had him under control most of the game.
I'm not sure. I think it was a battle between them two. Robertson came out on top sometimes. Utara came out on top a few times as well.
I also think he had more help from Tell than Gray did.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
That side, we were just getting destroyed. Sade was cooking Gray, and Mikey Moore was basically leaving him out to dry with Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter, I'd said that in the preview, that is one area I'm kind of worried. And funnily enough, I said two things. I said Moore could get a Lewis Potter, which he did because he had those 3 chances. And I said, but that could be one of their biggest strengths because I don't know if Moore's going to be tracking Potter back all the way. And then he scores the opening goal. He has cross after cross to create all those chances. He was arguably their biggest threat, Lewis Potter. He was causing us problems all day, and Moore just either he couldn't hack it, he couldn't track him back, or whatever. He was told not to, or whatever. But that was a big problem.
Not to. Like I think De Zerbi would have seen how, how isolated Archie Gray was at right back and getting cooked and cooked and cooked. I doubt he would have said to Moore, "Don't go and help him out." I find that hard to believe. But look, it was just an absolute shit show yesterday. What can we say? Like, there'll be more players in for the Newcastle game next week. Let's hope we'll see a bit more cohesion. Let's hope we see, a bit more of a solid back line. We need Mickey van der Ven in that back line. We really do, because there's just not enough pace in that back line. And whenever Van Hecker was stepping forward, so much space in behind him, like, there was no recovery. No recovery.
We've spoken a lot about the back line, obviously, because those are players are probably going to play a lot this season. In terms of forward line, we don't really want to. Obviously, Moore's, as you say, Moore's probably going to go. Richarlison's probably going to go. So it's no bother judging them because it doesn't really matter. But Gallagher, I want to talk about Gallagher because he's in the 10. He's playing in the 10. He's probably going to be playing in the 10 for the next 2 months, you would assume, around that. I mean, obviously, Maddison was getting sharper and sharper, so let's hope he's back as soon as possible. But for the foreseeable, it's probably going to be Gallagher until we get news otherwise. So I want to show his pass map. You go to the one where this is with purple arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, again, direction is left to right. So that's actually him playing it backwards, not forwards, the ones on the left.
And that's our 10.
That is our 10. This is the pass map of the player who is currently playing number 10 for Tottenham Hotspur. He's been tasked with creating chances, scoring goals, doing all those things, and that is his pass map. And also, what you notice is no passes to tell, maybe one there, didn't pass to him at all, no linkage with the centre mids. Those 3 passes, by the way, you can see backwards. One of them is to 2 of them are to Kinski. So he's pretty much playing more passes to our own goalkeeper than he is linking with our central midfielders.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can stomach too much more of him in that position, honestly, if he's going to perform like that.
You're going to have to, because we've got no one else. Look,
I think that was also a big problem with why Tell didn't have as good a game as he could have, because I felt like a lot of people pointed out yesterday, every time he got the ball, he was doubled up on. And unless he had support from Robbo, he was kind of struggling to get any joy. But Gallagher was not coming over to help. He was just isolated. There was no support for him. Yeah. And I thought the times where he was getting help and then he could isolate Coyote and take him on, he was actually doing all right. He completed more dribbles than our whole team combined yesterday at times, Tell. And I thought there were moments where he was looking bright. But more often than not, he was getting no help. And I think Gallagher was the big one where he was getting no help from.
Yeah, look, I don't know what Gallagher offers this team. I've said this since last season. Like, what does he, apart from running around like a madman and being able to press and sometimes being able to force an opportunity that way, and you'll see that as over the course of the season, what else does he offer us? Because I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I'm really struggling. And I can't believe we were saying when he signed in January, this guy's going to be our best midfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, I can really see why Atletico binned him off. I'm really starting to see that now. I can see why Chelsea were willing to accept a good offer. I'm really struggling with Gallagher. Look, it is still early in the season.
How
and
can you
early
have a
under
10
De
with no
Zerbi.
technical ability?
A 10 who won't pass, who can't pass. I mean, it's just so hard to watch. It is so hard on the eyes. It really is. Look, to be fair to him, he has got Richarlison in front of him who doesn't hold the ball, so he can't really get the ball off him. He's got Moore to his right, who's wasn't able to get on the ball. He's got Tell to his left, who isn't going to be our starting winger, although I thought he did all right. He had Bergvall behind him, who wasn't able to get on the ball as much. So maybe if Gallagher stayed on, I'm not saying he should have, but maybe if he did stay on in that second half when we had Fernandes and Bentancur there, and maybe if he's got better players around him, you might see a bit of a better player. But he should be one of the ones who's starting games for us regularly. He didn't have also a pre-season. He didn't have a World Cup. So he should be fresh. He should be one of the ones that should have been a shining light in this game. But he was one of the worst ones as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for us to sell him, even if we wanted to, with the wages that he's on. Yeah, look, I'm not a massive fan of Gallagher. I like his passion, I like his work rate, but I think he's so technically poor. And in a De Zerbi team, particularly in the forward line, you need technically gifted players, and he's just not that. So, and you're looking at the midfield, there are so many players ahead of him in terms of the 8 and the 6. So I don't know where he fits into this team. I really don't. But look, that is the shit show that was yesterday. 3-0 to Brentford. I promise you guys it will get better. I'm certain of it. It will get better. You know, Brentford absolutely smashed up Arsenal on the first game of the season, their first year in the Premier League. They ended up finishing 5th. And I think that was the year they missed out on 4th because we beat them 3-0 under Conte. So first game of the season is not a barometer of how you're going to be this season.
This is very reminiscent of Eric Ten Hag's first game for Man United. I remember that season they ended up, I think, finishing 3rd and winning the Carabao. But that first game, I remember they went to the G-Tech and got battered 4-0 by Brentford. And they got bullied. I remember Lisandro Martinez got completely bullied.
I hope you're not saying we're going to turn into Man United's Eric Ten Hag.
What I'm saying, would you
Eric
take
Ten
3rd in the
Hag's
Carabao right now?
Yes, I would take that league position and I'll take that trophy 100%.
That's what happened that season.
But I don't want to be Man United's Eric Ten Hag.
I'm just saying that's what happened that season. They
Yeah.
got battered and then they ended up finishing 3rd and winning the Carabao. But that first game, they were completely all over the place. And I remember Lissandra had an awful game. I remember Carragher was saying after the game, this centre-back won't work in this Prem. He's too short. He's going to be bullied. And he ended up having, being all right.
He's only played about 5 games since then.
Yeah, but he ended up being not bad in terms of when he plays. So there's a lot of things that can happen that can go wrong for us, and it has. But there's no need to
You can't make any sweeping judgments after one game. And not only is it in one game, and it's one game where a lot of players are not at peak fitness, and it's one game where it's just not our first choice team.
Look, I think we all knew this was going to happen. The reaction in terms of after losing, Tottenham spent all this money, they're still shit, relegation battle again.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be reality. That's what I still think.
Yeah. So onwards and upwards, people. Onwards and upwards. I'm still firmly convinced that we are going to have a good season. Let's get into a couple of super chats just before